Oh, hey, so the NRA finally showed up in Virginia. Sort of. The Daily Wire reported on Friday that new billboards in Virginia are popping up, warning gun owners that Bloomberg and Northam's gun confiscation plan begins in 2 weeks. The article stated that a source sent him a photo of this billboard, and it's pretty ominous. Meanwhile, the internet has also been up in arms about a new state budget proposal that dishes out an extra $250,000, supposedly to round up the so-called vigilante gun owners refusing the new gun control laws. I want to address a few points about this, but first, some cool news, or at least I think so. Cabela's has joined the Liberty Doll family and is the newest partner to the channel. I don't need to tell you who or what Cabela's is. They are the hunting, fishing, and outdoor outfitter. And right now they're offering free 2-day shipping on all orders over $50. To help the channel, all you have to do is use the link in the description and do your regular Cabela's shopping. So back to this billboard. This article from Daily Wire came out on Friday, and I sat at my computer Sunday night researching it. As of 8 p.m. Sunday, the photo in this article is the only photo of these billboards, and it's not even on the actual Daily Wire website anymore. Other articles reporting on the original article have it, because they saved it, but I couldn't find it anywhere else. Not on Google, not through DuckDuckGo. Which is kind of weird, but the NRA did retweet the Daily Wire's article, so I'm guessing it's legit and does exist. Still, it kind of has this feeling to me of the NRA sleeping on their watch as, like they say, the new session is only a couple weeks away and they're only showing up now. I mean, if the NRA was going to do billboards, maybe they should have done them before Democrats took over most of the political offices in Virginia, especially considering everyone knew ahead of time that Bloomberg was trying to buy the elections for every town for gun safety. The billboard is also kind of incendiary. Don't get me wrong, the situation in Virginia is not good. I'd even go so far as to call it dire. It's been the exclusive focus of my channel over the last couple weeks, now 5 videos deep. And it is true, at least according to the Washington Post, that Governor Northam talked about gun confiscation during a cabinet meeting in November, stating, "That's something I'm working on with our Secretary of Public Safety. I'll work with the gun violence activists and we'll work on that." But the NRA billboards make it sound like in 2 weeks the Gestapo are going to be showing up at everyone's door, and that's not quite the case. The bills have only been pre-filed, which means they haven't even been introduced or gone into committee yet, so there is still time to try and stop this before it gets bloody.
Let's go, let's boogaloo till we puke.
The war isn't lost, and the NRA kind of makes it sound like it already is, which I guess tells you where their sentiments lie. I think that with the events in Virginia starting to get more and more of the spotlight, it's important to stick to facts, at least as we know them, and not jump to conclusions, base things on conjecture, or put up the billboard equivalent of clickbait in order to stoke fear, because that's what the left always accuses gun owners of doing. We have to be better than that and not play into their traps.
It's a trap!
I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know how much that particular billboard is helping. Sure, it'll probably get some people to pay attention, but they should have been paying attention long before now. And the NRA should have shown up long before now, too. In a similar vein, there's been a lot of hubbub about the new Virginia budget bill. Yes, it is scary. Yes, Section Q does allocate an extra $250,000 for the estimated net increase in the operating cost of adult correctional facilities resulting from the enactment of sentencing legislation as listed below. The bill then lists $50,000 each to 1. Allow the removal of firearms from persons who pose substantial risk to themselves or others. 2. Prohibit the sale, possession, and transport of assault firearms, trigger activators, and silencers. 3. Increase the penalty for allowing a child to access unsecured firearms. 4. Prohibit possession of firearms for persons subject to final orders of protection. And 5. Require background checks for all firearms sales. First, I want to point out that $250,000 is absolutely nothing when it comes to government. Also consider that anytime government proposes a new law, there has to be a budget item along with it, because someone, somewhere, needs to be filling out the paperwork. This $250,000 could be divvied up between law enforcement, courthouses, lawyers, paper pushers, prison guards, and anyone else in the cop car to prison cell pipeline. That doesn't leave much for the thousands of inmates that are supposedly going to be added to the prison rolls, at least as some channels are speculating. Now, this isn't to say that they're not purposefully lowballing to prove the law can be budgeted in without plans to request heaps more money later, but this budget bill itself is not the smoking gun people are looking for. It is not the absolute proof of government plans to round up gun owners and send them off to prison camps the way people seem to be saying it is. It's bad, don't get me wrong, but again, it's not proof that the war is lost. I mean, how many people do you know that would go quietly if confiscation teams showed up at their door and tried to force them into a prison cell? How many people would be stupid enough to be in those confiscation teams? A couple items on that list, while you all know that I don't agree with them, at least make sense in an economic way. If we're going to unpack this, we have to remember that things cost money. Take number 5, for example. They want more background checks, and they want those background checks to be at the state level. Well, they're going to have to pay for that background check system somehow, and I'm sure it'll cost a hell of a lot more than $50,000. Same with the red flag laws and prohibiting possession for people with restraining orders. Someone's going to have to go knocking to get those guns, and someone, somewhere, is going to have to pay their salary. Again, that's going to cost more than $50,000, I'm sure, which of course lends itself to the lowballing theory, but again, that's just a theory. I don't want anyone misinterpreting this video as me saying that everything is fine, or don't worry, or telling people to ignore these billboards or budget proposals. That is not the case. My point is, these Democrats came in broad daylight to take over the Virginia government while gun owners were sitting at home or out hunting. They're being cunning and sneaky, pre-filing these bills, talking about immediate gun bans in the Capitol mere weeks before Lobby Day, filing bills to get rid of any law enforcement that doesn't comply. That means that we have to be just as smart and even more cunning, more clever, and have to have our wits about us to beat them. To do that, we have to be cool and collected, rational and logical. Not approaching this with a level head could be dangerous. Letting our fears get the best of us creates panic, and panicking is the worst thing you can do in a crisis situation. Professional advice from Liberty Doll LMHC. Either way, the taxpayers having to foot the bill for this is bullshit, but that's how government works. It never pays for anything on its own. Anything government does requires robbing Peter to pay Paul, but at several percentage points of interest. That's the Virginia news for today. Please keep fighting the good fight and help get the message out. Like, share, subscribe, comment, send the video to Great Aunt Edna. And if you want to help the channel in other ways, you can visit Cabela's or any of the other partner links in the description. You can also find me on Patreon or give a one-time donation through PayPal or my website. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, stay safe, and happy shooting.